beauty of this place is that it is thrilling to be here. So as Teresa said, tomorrow night's Halloween. It's been a tradition all over Miami-Dade County, and some of the best and most frequented spots are many of the public plazas and streets around town. As she was talking earlier about Lincoln Road on Miami Beach, those of you who've been there, you know that they have an annual Halloween party. But those of you who are here and staying here in Coral Gables, I want to encourage you to come out for Halloween on Miracle Mile and the Giralda Plaza. This is the downtown Coral Gables area. We do a pretty nice celebration every year. And more importantly, over 380 restaurants in Coral Gables are waiting for you to come and discover them over the next couple days if you're here for a while, or just tomorrow night after you get through. Your reception tomorrow night is here in Coral Gables at a large luxury furniture, I guess a store, but really it looks more like a museum, right in the heart of Coral Gables. And from there, as Teresa mentioned, you'll have the option of transportation to 2 other major places. Before we get into that a little bit, I'd like to tell you a lot about what you are sitting in. This is one of the most iconic hotels in the world. As a matter of fact, in 1996, it was placed on the National Historical Register, I guess, of historical landmarks in the United States. Only 3% of the nationally recognized buildings in the country received that designation. It received it because it was such an amazing concept. The city of Coral Gables was founded on everything that we all truly love to ourselves dearly, hold dearly, and the fact is that it was a real estate development. It was the idea of a gentleman named George Merrick, who came here when he was 12 years old. As he grew up, he went to Rollins College in Orlando. He went on to New York City to study law, but in 1911, his father passed away, and he returned back to Coral Gables. He became a county commissioner in 1915, and he was responsible, along with a few of his partners, for the construction of many of our major thoroughfares in Dade County, opening up Dade County for the possibility of development. So he did the extension of US Route 1. He built the Old Cutler Road. He built the Tamiami Trail over to Naples. He had a lot to do with creating all the infrastructure that we rely on today. I just wish he made some of those roads a lot wider than he did. But among other things that he did do was come up with the idea that when his father did pass away in 1911, he willed him 3,000 acres, the center of which we're standing in right now. These were orchards. They grew grapefruit here. They grew avocado, and they had large tracts of pine trees, what we call today the Dade County pine, which is a native source to many of our construction materials back in that era. So George came up with this wild scheme that he was going to build speculative housing. And you think about Lennar today, or Minto for today, you can talk about a lot of people who came up with the same idea. So George was truly one of us, a real estate developer and salesman. By the time that he got around to building some, hundreds and hundreds of little houses we call today Old Spanish, in a 3-year period of time, he spent $20 million. I just looked it up a little while ago because I'm not really good at all the math. $20 million in 1925 is the equivalent of $270 million today. So along with the same idea of building these houses and trying to fuse the market, he also appealed, as you saw, from New York. So he sent a lot of his material and a lot of his promotional material up north. He wanted to attract a lot of people down here. And many of them came for health reasons. So when George got here finally and got started and created this city, this beautiful city of Coral Gables, he found a partner to build this iconic structure. As big as this hotel is and as beautiful as it is, can any of you guess how long it took him to build this hotel back in 1924? I couldn't. I'll tell you right now, he built it in 10 months. Now you try to build something this big and this beautiful in 10 months' time, put it on the market, populate it. It opened in January of 1926. It had a huge and beautiful opening, but something crazy happened. Now you all have heard a lot about Irma, and some of you have asked about, well, what about other hurricanes that come through here? We had one of the worst hurricanes ever on September 18th, 1926. It was devastating to most of Miami-Dade County. This structure survived, and not only did it survive, but it became a shelter for over 2,000 residents at the time. So over the years, this hotel has changed hands. We became part of the U.S. Navy, and during World War II, it was a veterans hospital. Later on, it fell into the hands of a few other people, but finally, in the 1970s, the federal government decided to turn it over to the city of Coral Gables, who really didn't know what to do with it. But early on, 1984 approximately, they came up with the idea of converting it into a hotel, or back into a hotel. And they went through a very interesting time with a couple of different operators until we finally fell into the hands of the wonderful people from Seaway Corporation who run it today. This hotel now offers you not only one of the most luxurious spas, it has what at one time was the largest swimming pool in the United States of America. It was a training ground to a young man named Johnny Weissmuller, who went on to become Tarzan fame in all the movies. It featured synchronized swimming pool, Olympic training grounds, and of course today you've got 3 or 4 of the finest restaurants here in Miami. So those of you who are returning tomorrow night to the Biltmore, don't miss either the casual courtyard dining in the Fontana or downstairs on the main level, the fine French dining of the Palme d'Or restaurant. But in the meantime, I'd like to get on and tell you a little bit more about the city that this great real estate developer built. We are, as Teresa was naming all the great cities and where to go and how Miami Beach is so sexy and how all this is great food and cuisine, Coral Gables is a beautiful place where you can, in fact, do business. We are home to well over 150 multinational corporations who have their regional headquarters here. So we're primed for business, and you can learn more about this. We have some brochures out at the front registration desk again, which will tell you a little bit more about how you can do business in Coral Gables, who's doing business in Coral Gables, and how easy it is to do business here. I think you'll enjoy that. But more importantly, we're offering you the comfort of a small cosmopolitan city in an atmosphere of business, cordiality, and beauty. Many things that we mentioned earlier, and you heard Nancy Corey telling you the other day that she didn't think it was always about location. Well, we have location. What people love here about Coral Gables is our proximity to the airport, our proximity to the beaches, our proximity to all the recreational and cultural facilities you could want that Miami-Dade County offers. So we give you a great opportunity to do that. Quality of life is incredible. Again, Teresa took you through all the fine reasons why Miami, Miami Beach, Miami-Dade County are popular. All those are rolled into one in the city of Coral Gables. We have one of the top-ranked fire departments in the entire United States of America. We have 3 iconic golf courses that are amazing for your recreation. We have the Venetian swimming pool, which was, again, another great real estate idea of George Merrick. He was digging limestone to create all these beautiful houses and walls and coral rock structures that he built. And one day, his bulldozer ran into a freshwater spring. And he said, well, let's turn this lemon into a lemonade. And he built what is today the Venetian pool. Up until about, I would say, 10, 12 years ago, this pool was refreshed with fresh water every day. Now it's refreshed with fresh water every week. But it is still available right here in the heart of Coral Gables, one of the most beautiful public recreational pools you'll ever see. Again, the beauty, the architecture, the opportunities here are fantastic. Culture as well. We have fine art galleries, we have a fine live theater, we have the Coral Gables Art Cinema coming here, we have the Landmark Cinema in the Village of Merrick Park, where some of you might want to dine tomorrow night as well. We're a very green city. Coral Gables is known for their beautiful coverage of trees. Even Irma, in her fury, took out many of our gorgeous trees, but not all of them. And what we learned after Hurricane Andrew 25 years ago is these will grow back, and they'll grow back pretty quickly, so we're not worried about that. But we do really continue to acquire green space. We've been buying up little neighborhood patches of land, areas that don't have a house on them or don't have a commercial building on them. And what we do, this is an example here of on Lisbon Street in Coral Gables. That was when the dedication ceremony took place. Here's what happened 6 months later when we have an opportunity to turn this into a neighborhood park. It's basically a passive park. There's nothing else going on there except that it helps to green up the neighborhood. So we've acquired over 70,000 square feet of passive parks like this. One of the nicest things that has come along in a long time, and we're making a big federal project out of this, we're getting a lot of involvement. Years and years ago, Miami-Dade County funded a project called the Metro Rail. It was our very first attempt at having public transportation. It runs for a length of about 10 miles. From the Brickell Avenue downtown Miami area all the way south to an area known as Dadeland. And it runs along the US Route 1, which, as I mentioned earlier, was one of the roads that George Merrick helped build in 1925. there was a lot of underutilized land underneath this raised railway. And quite frankly, some of it's not very attractive. But based on some of the items you learn when you travel around the world and you look at other places, we know that there's about a mile-long stretch called the High Line in Manhattan, where they converted another raised railroad track into a beautiful walking, again, passive park. Well, the underline is going to be a 10-mile version of that, and it's going to go on and have everything in it from bicycling trails, exercise equipment, dog parks. In addition to other transportation options, Coral Gables offers you one of the area's very first free trolleys that runs from the Metro Rail Douglas Station all the way north to Flagler Street. We have opened up, obviously, opportunities for bike lanes. We're very interested in bike lanes travel. The newest and greatest thing here is something called the Freebie. This is a little 6-passenger electric golf cart. I think there's 4 of them now that run around. And with an app on your phone, you can be anywhere in downtown Coral Gables, call up this little Freebie to come and pick you up, and they'll whisk you to your next downtown Coral Gables destination. And we are very friendly to Uber and Lyft. So business is a great reason to be in Coral Gables. We are indeed the gateway to Latin America. I think all of Miami knows that. We love that opportunity. We're clearly near the cargo and the airport hubs. We have a very, very smart and multilingual workforce here available to you. And we're connected all, through every internet wave, every technology you could ever want. We're also a pretty prosperous city. Average household income of $120,000, our unemployment rate at 3%, a little bit below the county level. Our home value average, now you heard the median price in Miami-Dade County is $335,000. Our average for our median home value in Coral Gables is more than double that. And 60% of our residents have a bachelor's degree. So some of the big employers in Coral Gables are, well, listed here. You probably can't see them, but they're all global multinational corporations, IBM, Gibraltar Bank. You've got Bacardi USA has their world corporate headquarters here. American Airlines has their regional headquarters here. We are obviously doing a lot of business with a lot of major multinational corporations. Some of them are here with their world headquarters. Some of them are here with their regional headquarters. But you recognize some of the brands. Also, because again, the proximity to the airport, and because of the beauty and the opportunities for education of their children, we are home to consulates and foreign government offices from all over the world. I think that, I don't have the exact numbers, we have about 75 foreign consulates just in Miami of the 150 or more that are just in Coral Gables, of the 150 or more that are in Miami. So our real estate market is quite strong here as well. Our vacancy spaces are shrinking rapidly, as you can see, and our quoted rental rates are going up. Same thing is true in the retail sector. There's a great deal of shopping here. There is, you're going to see some tomorrow night if you go to the Village of Merrick Park. If you end up in downtown Coral Gables, you'll see them lining the streets there. And it's good to be in Coral Gables. If you're in the rental market, and you heard earlier from the panel that some of them think the rental market has peaked, others think there's still good opportunities in rental marketing. Clearly there is. But in Coral Gables, our effective rent, this is residential rates right now, on average. We're running several $100s above either downtown Brickell area or the county. Our growth rate is much higher, and our vacancy rate is lower, or at least on par with the county. So in our business climate, now people have been talking about taxes for a long time. Remember one thing, Coral Gables is a full-service city. So that means we don't rely on any other government to pick up our trash or provide us with police protection or fire protection. We take care of ourselves on our own. This, of course, costs money. And how do you pay for these services? You pay taxes, naturally. So of all the major areas in Miami-Dade County, Coral Gables has the second lowest millage rate. And the only reason that the village of Key Biscayne beats us is because probably 70% of their residents are second homeowners who pay their taxes but don't utilize their services. So amongst full-service communities, we still are the most affordable for taxes. And we're one of the few communities in the nation to have a triple A credit rating. lot of new projects are coming to Coral Gables for all the reasons I just mentioned. It's great to do business here. The opportunities exist in several forms. The latest being, of course, that we want to get involved in the multi-use buildings so that we can work, live, and play all within one block area. We have 57 new commercial and residential projects going on with over 2,600 residential units in play. 1.7 million square feet of commercial office space is available, and there's got 646 new hotel rooms coming to Coral Gables alone. The largest project you may have heard of is already a very successful developer. It's called the Agave Company. They're out of Mexico. You can tell by their name that they're mostly famous for, and they make most of their money from tequila. But they've come to Coral Gables and already developed a tremendous project in the 300 block of Alhambra Circle. And their main tenant in there is HBO Latin America. They also feature Diageo, which is another huge national, I think they're out of France, liquor distributor worldwide, global liquor distributor. Well, they purchased a piece of land in the southern part of the downtown core of Coral Gables, and they're developing a multi-use project that's going to feature hotels, residences, retail, entertainment sectors. On Giralda, there is a block in the 200 block of Giralda called Giralda Place. This is going to have 33 high-end luxury condominiums, about 15,000 square feet of retail space, and 120,000 square feet of commercial office space, of which already 32,000 has been rented to a company called WeWork. I'm sure many of you have heard of them. WeWork is going to be the new millennial form of the Regis office suites. Merrick Manor is being built just north of where you're going to be this evening for your cocktail reception on Lejeune Road across from Coral Gables Senior High School, and it's also going to have retail as well as residences. 200 Salzito has already been built. You heard Mo Vici talk a moment ago about a developer here named Armando Codina. Armando has built this building. It's another multi-use operation. There's going to be a rental resident opportunity as well as retail and commercial. The Aloft Hotel is about to be finished on the corner of Benicia and Lejeune Road in downtown Coral Gables. Aloft, as you know, I think is branded by Starwood as their new their Generation X hotel. It's the new concept of smaller is better. And finally, along the Metro Rail station that you heard before is another large project. Will be probably starting off as being residential rentals, but will inevitably convert to condominiums. And what they've decided to do, this developer, is they're going to take, this is the stretch of the Metro Rail I talked about, this is the underlying section you saw, and the beauty of there is that this developer is going to fund that entire stretch in front of his development for the new park called the Underline. Already constructed and in heavy use is a LEED certified beautiful building on the University of Miami campus. That, by the way, just you should know, the University of Miami is located in Coral Gables. And this is the Lennar Medical Center. It's a state-of-the-art medical facility right here in the heart of our city. And you can always go to coralgables.com development projects if you want to keep up abreast with any of these projects. So we're building beautiful areas. This is a rendition of what's going on, and you will, unfortunately, it's still going on, so you will see it tonight if you go to, tomorrow night if you go to Miracle Mile. We are widening this street to make it more pedestrian friendly, shrinking the amount of automobile traffic that's on it. We couldn't completely close it off because it happens to be a state road, but we are going to widen the sidewalks and make it a lot more pedestrian accessible. And you'll see that in progress now. But what's already been completed, and this is what some of the area looks like already, so parts of it are finished. But very soon, already today and tonight probably, or tomorrow night during the Halloween celebration, you'll see the Giralda Plaza. This was another concept of creating an open pedestrian area. And in a move during the construction, the City Commission decided that they would turn this into a full and complete pedestrian operation. So there will be no traffic on this for the next 2 years as an experiment. It's finished now, and it's lined with trees, lights, and multicolored pavers, and it's pretty crowded, and it's lined with restaurants. We used to call this Restaurant Row, and they're coming back now. So one of the places I would encourage you to go to tomorrow night. So we're doing a lot of travel and activation, and we're creating some culture for people and some exercises to bring people into the downtown area. Again, in an attempt to make sure that people enjoy the walkability of the city, because there are more and more residences who are moving from these large houses into smaller apartments so they have less maintenance, more opportunity to travel, and of course to get out and walk in the urban lifestyle. We offer music, we offer wellness, we offer movies, right there in the heart of Miracle Mile. We also have a gallery night the first Friday of every month. We have a walking or bus tour of the art galleries around the city. New parking garages are coming because, as I said, we're taking away some parking when we widen Miracle Mile, but we're going to bring it back to you in the form of new parking garages that will also have commercial opportunities above and retail on the ground floor. And we're very sustainable. We want to be a city for the future. We want to make sure that you have access to electric charging stations. We want to know that you are available to have autonomous cars that will be coming, as you mentioned earlier, and we are LEED certified. So basically, as I started off by saying, it did start out as a real estate project, and it took people like you and I, real estate salespersons, to create this beautiful city. This was part of the sales team that worked out of downtown Coral Gables in 1924 to help George Merrick sell these houses. One of those salespeople was a gentleman named William Jennings Bryan. You probably don't know William Jennings Bryan was made mostly famous by an attempt back in the 30s to try to get America to turn over to the gold standard. Well, he didn't exactly succeed in that endeavor, but he was very successful here in developing and selling Coral Gables. And here, with some of his architects in the sales room, the heart of the selling of real estate, is George Merrick down here on the lower right, sitting with one of his architects, Denman Fink. So it was quite a project, quite an adventure, a lot of opportunity. So I want to thank you all for being here, and then I'm going to tell you, as Teresa said, I've got a couple minutes left to describe some of the places you can eat. Over 380 restaurants in Coral Gables, combined with those you're going to see at the Village of Merrick Park if you go there, or if you go to downtown. We have everything we can offer you in the form of ethnic food, from Mexican and Chinese, from sushi, or to Thai food, or Benihana, or you can go a little bit more upscale and get some fine French cuisine. If you're looking for classic American, I would highly recommend you look at a place called Hillstones, or another one in the same area called Bricktops. Very, very classic, fine American cuisine. Popular also as bar areas, places to go and see. The latest trend that's coming, and if you get over to the Giralda Plaza I mentioned, is you're going to see a lot more chef-driven restaurants. Restaurants where we found young entrepreneurial chefs who also want to get back to the land, and they want to try some farm-to-table movement. They want to source some greens. Miami and Dade County in general and all of South Florida is still a very good agricultural area. So they have a lot of opportunities to grow some of the food that we can eat and they use in their cuisine. I think you'll enjoy that a great deal as well. My personal favorites, again, I'm thinking if you're fine dining, you can come back here to Biltmore for the Pandore. You can get a nice, lovely Italian meal here. Downtown Coral Gables, again, fine dining, you want Pascal's on Ponce, or the American dining, the Hillstones. I would highly recommend Lotus Garden on Miracle Mile, or Benihana for Asian food. I think you'll find amongst the sports bars, we have a couple right there on the Giralda Plaza that are ready to operate. The new Tap 42 is coming into town. Seasons 52 is a national chain that's got a big brand right on Miracle Mile. And again, I would say, as Teresa had recommended to you, check out the notebook that Ro has put together for you out on the front desk with the menus. You can also go online and look at a website called I Love Miami Spice. I Love Miami Spice, and click on the section that you want to look at Coral Gables, and there you're going to find a very interesting opportunity that's extended only through tomorrow night at certain restaurants, and that is a 3-course meal for $39. So ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my favorite city in Florida, Coral Gables.